Hello, good evening and welcome to Business Live. Tonight on the program, economists' upbeat drop in inflation reflects current measures put in place by government. Data Protection Commission to clamp down on companies and institutions that have not registered with the Commission by the 19th of June. Plus, on the Joy Business van, we are at Brekusu in the eastern region where some young entrepreneurs are doing something quite unique with the pineapple fruit. Details of these stories and plenty more coming up in this half hour of Business News.
Business Live today.
My name is Darryl Cobb. Thanks for being with us. Inflation has again dropped to 12.6% in May. That's a reduction of 0.4 percentage points, signifying a downward trend from the beginning of the year. Now, this means prices of goods and services continue to increase, but the rate has slowed down in May compared with that of April. Explaining what accounted for the reduction, acting government statistician Bawa points to the drop in petroleum prices.
Transport with a rate of 23.6%, recreation and culture a rate of 21.4%, furnishings, household equipment and routine maintenance with a rate of 20.7%, clothing and footwear with a rate of 16.5%, and miscellaneous goods and services with a rate of 16.4%. And the price drivers for the food inflation rate were fish and seafoods a rate of 13.1%, and meat products 9.8%. It may be noted that the subgroups with the highest high price changes over the year are referred to as the price drivers. At the regional level, 5 regions, Greater Accra, Upper West, Ashanti, Bono Ahafo, and Western recorded inflation rates that were higher than the national average of 12.6%. The Greater Accra region recorded the highest year-on-year inflation rate of 13.6%, followed by Upper West region with 13.5%, while Upper East region recorded the lowest inflation rate of 9.1% for the month of May 2017. The May 2017 year-on-year inflation rate of 12.6% is the lowest since December 2013.
An economist with data bank Courage Martey has been reacting to the new figures. He thinks it's reflective of measures put in place by government.
The government must ensure that the fiscal regime that is setting in place remains credible, because the credibility of the fiscal regime is very key. Once you lose that credibility, then it's as if all the work that you've done has been undone. And so the credibility that is being gained, the government must ensure that it sustains it. And so if there are shocks to the fiscal regime, especially from the revenue projection side, the government must find a way and must ensure that expenditure side is able to realign to the shocks on the revenue side to maintain that credibility. From the look of things, the downward pressure on crude oil price is not going to ease anytime soon, because U.S. is also pumping faster than OPEC could imagine, and that's just exerting further pressure on price, so which is good for inflation going forward, because it will see further decline in the months ahead.
And we've been picking the thoughts of another economist, that is Professor Robert Osei with the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research. He's been sharing his thoughts.
Thank you very much. I guess that if you've looked at the trends in inflation, particularly in the last few months, you do note that the biggest component of inflation will typically be the non-food component. Now, if you compare the food and non-food components, what you do find is that the non-food component is around 16%, whilst that of the food, I think, was a little over 6%. Now, what this means essentially is that, and you know that for the average Ghanaian, the food basket constitutes a major part of their consumption. What this means essentially is that where you have the price of the non-food coming down, typically it will actually drive inflation down. Now, if you look at the non-food component also, you do realize that the largest contributor there is transport services. Okay, so again, what it means is that tackling the constraints with respect to the transport sector would have positive, if you like, dividends for overall inflation in the country. So I think that this is where the gains are actually coming in with respect to the CPI. If you look at the big components of the non-food, so you have the transport, you have housing, health, education. All these are actually important components of the non-food basket, which we are saying is the larger component of the food price inflation. So any one of these items, of course the transport component was very important, and therefore the fact that the fuel prices were coming down due to some of the policies, but also due to the exchange rate gains, it has meant that these things will come down.
Turning to some news from the energy sector, and commercial production on the Sankofa Jinyame oil and gas field officially starts next month after President Akufo-Addo turns the valves on the John Kufuor FPSO on July 6. It is expected to generate production of about 45,000 barrels of crude in the first phase and up to 180 million standard cubic feet by the end of next year. Energy expert Ben Boache is concerned about the lack of necessary structures to enable the country to actually benefit from this oil field.
Immediately, we do know that the Western Enclave is not going to be able to consume the entire gas that will be available. What that means is that we have to reverse some of the gas to the Eastern Corridor. I know arrangements are in place to reverse it through the West Africa gas pipeline, which stalled, for a long period of time. But we would need to hasten that process to ensure that once gas is produced, we are able to consume, we are able to transmit that gas to the West to ensure that gas plants that are in the Eastern Corridor are also using the gas. We have a take-or-pay agreement, with ENI, and once they produce the gas, we should be on the standby to consume the gas. Else, that will also be another cost to the sector. So, some decisions have to be made quickly. We now see early start of production, which is anticipated in a couple of months. And if we are anticipating early start of production of gas as well, are we able to quicken our steps to ensure that the transmission of the gas to the east is also hastening to coincide with the production of gas? If we don't, then we would be having gas stranded in the Western Corridor.
In a related development, the country's second biggest oil field, Trinidad 10, would start exporting its gas to the country's gas infrastructure project at Atobo in the western region from August. But there are some issues that should be sorted out before the gas can be exported. Here's George Riafe's report.
As export sources say would happen after an agreement is reached with the government on the price it will offer for each standard cubic feet of gas sold to the Ghana National Gas Company. Joy Business understands the partners in the 10th field are currently re-injecting the gas to aid crude extraction from the seabed and also some power generation on the John Evans Atta Mills FPSO. At a time that crude prices are increasing on the international market, this gas could help reduce the cost of power generation in the country, a development that could help stay or reduce utility tariffs in the coming months. The 10 gas export will also help make up for the shortfall in Jubilee gas, which should be shut down again for some 13 weeks From October this year, government is planning to export the excess gas from the country's oil fields into the West African gas pool, as the coming on board of the 10 gas and also the Sankofa Jinyami gas from next year could lead to excess supply for the country.
In other news tonight, the Data Protection Commission says it will be publishing a list of companies and institutions and other data controllers who have not registered with the Commission come Monday, June 19. The state of data protection in Ghana has been a source of worry to government, especially handling of personal information of clients and also misrepresentation of information. Speaking at a press briefing in Accra, the Executive Director of the Commission, Teki Akwete Falconer, cautioned the general public to look out for a data protection license from any business before transacting business with them.
The move by the Data Protection Commission is aimed at protecting Ghanaians from the result of careless handling of personal data by data controllers. Executive Director for the Data Protection Commission, Teki Akwete Falconer, says the move is expected to see government clamp down on all businesses which do not have the license to keeping the personal data of customers safe.
With effect from Monday, 19th June 2017, we will begin the monthly publication of the list of offending data controllers in the newspapers, with the objective of naming and shaming them and warning the public of providing their personal information for use by these entities. This publication will be followed shortly by the arrest of the offending data controllers and subsequent arraignment before our courts. The illegal data controllers we are talking about includes a number of ministries, departments, and agencies, municipal, metropolitan, and district assemblies, public and private organizations, security agencies, airline companies, law firms, hospitals, hotels and restaurants, companies, partnerships and trusts, clinics, microfinance and insurance companies, accounting firms, auditing firms, educational institutions, media houses, voluntary groups and associations, just to mention a few.
Speaking to Joy Business, Teki Akwete Falconer revealed that data protection could be best enforced if the private sector engages with government in ensuring that the privacy of clients is secure.
They are in their thousands, if I should put it simply. What I can say is, because I've collected the information by way of sectors or by way of particular group, and so I can, for instance, tell you that we have about 100 law firms that we're working on prosecuting. We have about a number of media houses that have not complied, that we're working on, taking part in this process. In terms of the ministries, departments and agencies, we're looking at another 100. For the ministries, they're probably around the 30 figure. It's not good enough because we continue to see abuses. We continue to see data controllers that have not registered. So we've come a long way, but there's still a lot that we have to do to get us into a state where Ghana can proudly say that we're a country that takes data protection seriously.
You're watching Business Live on JoyNews. We are taking a short break. There's plenty more ahead.
Business Live today.
Welcome back. Time to bring you the Joy Business Van. Now, when two students of Ashesi University headed to Brekusu in the eastern region in search of opportunities in the agricultural sector, little did they know they would strike gold. The abundance of pineapples in that community pushed them to explore the market for dried fruit snacks in Ghana. And guess what? It worked. Today on the Joy Business Van, we visit the processing center of what has become known as Sisemu. Sisemu means change in the local Akan dialect, and change is exactly what Emmanuel Ampedu Jr. and his team sought to do when they visited the farming community of Berkusu in the eastern region some 5 years ago.
And we engaged the farmers and we realized that, number one, they don't have markets for their pineapple. Number two, even if they get markets, the price is very low. Can you imagine they can buy one pineapple that weighs 1.2 kilograms for 40 pesos, which is very bad. And so the farmers don't make any money and they end up using their farms as collateral.
That started an amazing entrepreneurial journey. Tons of pineapples produced in this community were going to waste because there was no market for them. Emmanuel and his friends decided to explore ways of adding value to the fruit, putting the pineapples to good use.
In 2014, one of our farmers called Samuel Apia, called us and he was very frustrated. He said that he had 500 pineapples on his farm, no one willing to buy, and the ones offering a price is nothing to write home about. The price is so not good. We decided that why don't we carry out a project involving Ashesi University with the town farmers to find out means and ways in which we can add value to pineapples, and we came up with the Sisemu dried pineapples.
It's a simple process to make the dried pineapple snacks once you have a dryer.
And so we weigh them, then we come, and then we cut them. Yeah. We use the slicer, and after that you must weigh the cuts, and you place them in the dryer. So it takes about 20 to 22 hours for it to dry because this is a domestic dryer. But for the bigger dryer, it takes a lesser time for it to dry. So as you can see, it's ready. Our crunchy dried pineapple is ready. And we take it to our packaging area. And here is where we package. You can see we have our labels here. We have our scale. We have our small, shall I say, bowl that we use to weigh. So we first of all package them in a Ziploc bag, in an airtight bag, as you can see, because the more air gets into it, it becomes flattened. So we put them in the airtight bag, as you can see. Would you like to have a taste?
Yeah, sure.
So we started with this Ziploc bag. We put in the dried pineapples, we fill it for 30 grams, we tie it with a rubber band, and in the middle of the rubber band, we put our label there. And we started selling it on campus. So we realized that a lot of students loved it. Actually, the feedback we got was great. And we realized that we couldn't even meet the demand on campus.
Emmanuel and his friends are out of school now, and they've taken this up full time. They supply hundreds of their dried pineapple snacks to malls around the country and export as well. A challenge Sisemu has to deal with, though, is the inconsistent supply of electricity in this part of the country. The business for the dried pineapple snacks looks promising. Emmanuel and his partners are already researching other food varieties. They're happy they're pioneering something new in Ghana.
People get pineapples from here, take them to Costa Rica, take them to Europe, add value to them, bring it back to us, and we buy it at a premium. We can do those things here. We only have to make sure we don't joke with quality at all. If you're doing it, you must do it well. You must target your customers and take your customers very seriously, like you're going to take an international market. So I think that we should start believing in Ghana. If you look at our cocoa, they take it there, add value to it, bring it back, we buy it at an expensive price. So Ghanaians must start believing in Ghanaians.
For the farmers here at Berkusu, this simple initiative has changed their lives and given them hope. But that's not all.
We realize that there are a lot of women who don't have jobs in the communities. They stay at home, they take care of their kids, and sometimes their standard of living is nothing to write home about. So we decided to employ women, employ them, empower them, teach them this value addition so that they can also help their husbands and be able to take care of their family as well.
The Sisemu story is indeed a story of change. And that's all in the spirit of patronizing made in Ghana products and in the lead up to the Ghana Fair on the 24th of June at Impact Hub in Accra. Now, wondering how to use a computer without a mouse? Here are some tricks for you on our Busy Bits.
Is it possible to use the computer without a mouse? Here are some tricks. Open the Start menu using the Windows key and the arrow keys to move up and down the menu. Then click Enter when you have selected the program you want. Once you are in the program, you can move around the menu bar by holding the Alt button and clicking on the underlined letter on the menu option. Then you can use the arrow keys and enter to select what you want.
Joy Business Van, empowered by Joy Business.
This is Business Live. Now, production on the Sankofa Jinyame field could help increase electricity by 1,000 megawatts. Government is expected to also rake in some $2.3 billion in revenue every year. But economist Dr. Ishmael Yamson, however, warns government should not see the extra revenue from the field as an answer to its problems. That's our interview of the day.
Interview of the day.
We are talking more about oil. And we know the shale producers who are in full steam now. Renewable energy is in full steam now. So oil hasn't got that robust future. We are investing in a sector, energy sector, which is becoming irrelevant longer into the future. And we are not paying attention to those areas like gas, like windmill, like which has. So in the short term, to provide us with lasting relief. First of all, we don't have control over the price of oil. We don't. There's always a conflict between OPEC and the non-OPEC countries. Anytime they need money, they pump more oil and the price collapses. Already, cocoa price has collapsed. Gold is holding. So once you are going to get 30 million from oil, you haven't told how much you are going to lose from cocoa. So in net terms, are we earning more foreign exchange in net terms? So I think we need to do a lot more critical analysis of this. And I think for me, and I must say to you that I have every confidence in this team, in the finance ministry, every confidence. We have some very fantastic people there. I think they have to be very strategic, very strategic.
Interview of the day.
And that's it for Business Live tonight. My name is Daryl Kwao. As always, thanks for tuning in. We are back same time tomorrow.